What's up, guys and girls? My name is Nick, and this is my story about how Gracie Jiu-Jitsu changed my life. I'm 24 years old. I've been training Jiu-Jitsu for about 3 years, on and off, in and out of school. There were a few things that motivated me to start training Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and the biggest one that had the most impact comes from this bracelet that I wear occasionally. And the initials on here are KGQ, and they stand for Kyle G. Quinn. And Kyle, I never met him, but I was friends with his girlfriend, and in 2007 he was beaten to death in Kutztown, Pennsylvania, walking home from the bar by himself by 3 thugs that were just looking for a fight. And completely unprovoked, a young man lost his life, and that was a big wake-up call for me that said, that guy is just like me, and same build. You know, I was 19 years old at the time too, also in college, and that was the biggest wake-up call for me that said, I need to be able to protect myself. And at the current time, I just kind of gotten back into taking some Taekwondo classes at college as a recreational kind of elective credit type thing. And I grew up training Taekwondo, and it was really fun as a kid, competed and stuff. But it wasn't something that I would apply really for self-defense. I'm a really skeptical person, and I have to have a lot of confidence in something, and especially if it's going to deal with my own well-being, health, safety, that I have to be 100% positive that it's going to work. And Gracie Jiu-Jitsu has never failed me. There's never been a time where I've gone, oh, I don't think that's really going to work. You know exactly what the limitations of each technique are, and you can try them out every class, and you know exactly what it's going to feel like, instead of punching bags, kicking bags, or sparring somebody with full gear on. You know exactly how it's going to feel before they tap, and what happens if they don't tap. Being an engineering student, do a lot of work with math and physics, and especially torque, leverage. So there's no doubt in my mind that, let's say for an arm bar, that of course any person can hyperextend someone else's arm. Just the math adds up. The bigger they are, the longer lever arm there is, and there's no way the tendons are going to hold up to the kind of force you're going to exert on it with an arm bar if the technique's done properly. There's one Taekwondo class in college. It was an escape from basically a front guillotine or a headlock, a standing headlock, and the defense for that was turn your head inside, which is good, takes the pressure off the choke, and then to make the guy let go was to pinch the back of his triceps, you know, as hard as you could. And apparently there's a lot of nerves there. Some people it hurts really bad, some people it doesn't. And as a skeptical person, I was like, wow, what if he's wearing a jacket? What if he's got scar tissue? What if he's drunk? He's not going to feel anything. That is a really bad plan. You're putting a lot of emphasis on something that you don't know is really going to work. And when I saw the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu defense for a front headlock, I'm like, oh wow. Hand over the shoulder, takes the pressure off the guillotine, of course. When you start using leverage and physics in a martial art, then it makes a world difference. As a smaller guy, you kind of feel on edge at bars, parties, or whatever, even in areas without lots of drinking sometimes. So having that ace up your sleeve with Jiu-Jitsu gives you a lot of confidence to go into those areas. I currently train at a Saulo Ribeiro School hybrid training center here in Virginia Beach. When I first started, I was lucky enough to start at Gracie, Baja, Texas, which was a great place to start, and really fell in love with Jiu-Jitsu within probably the first class. And my current training regimen, it's about twice a week depending on my work schedule. Sometimes Saturdays, sometimes I can't fit it in a week, but I always come back to it. Physically, I've stayed in shape, which isn't a real big struggle for me, but I keep up my level of fitness in an exciting way that's always new. And if you ever go to the gym and you watch these people on treadmills, and it's like watching a hamster on the little wheel that spins around inside the cage, they look pretty miserable, and that is not what exercise should be. When you roll and when you're learning new techniques, it always opens your eyes to a whole nother way to use pressure and leverage or existing clothing to tap an opponent out. And you also have the offense-defense game of rolling and competing, where you've got to play offense and defense at the same time. Mentally is a whole nother ball game, and that's where Gracie Jiu-Jitsu made an impact in my life that I never thought was possible. When you see advertisements for martial arts, number one you see is confidence. And it sounds kind of cliche, but there's something about walking into a bar or a restaurant or a room and knowing that you have an ace up your sleeve, and that you have a weapon that no one can take away from you. You can defend yourself, and that cannot be used against you. And you know that you've proven that in your gym with rolling with bigger guys, with rolling with higher belts, that you can survive, and that you have the techniques, you stay calm, you apply them, you know they'll work 100%. And that's something completely different from a striking martial art. And if you've never knocked anyone out, how do you know that you have the ability to do that? I'm a skinny guy. I know I don't have the ability to do that. But it only takes 6 seconds to choke somebody out. That's a big difference. That's the edge that I want to have on my side. The confidence you get from dealing with that kind of stress kind of radiates towards the rest of your life. I mean, nothing is as stressful as getting crushed and getting choked at the same time and trying to defend it. But you have to learn how to deal with that and work through it. You have to know what the technique is, and if you panic, you're done. You're going to get caught. And Jiu-Jitsu teaches you how to not panic, which leads me into a little story that happened this year, and I really wish I didn't have this story to tell, but it's true. This April, I traveled to New Orleans for my birthday, and you could probably guess where this story is heading. Once this guy came out of the sidewalk across the street, and he looked left, he looked right, pulls out a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson semi-auto, and is pointed at us from across the street as he's walking towards us. And right away we both stopped, and of course the first thing I said, is this real? And immediately after said, yeah, this is real. And making that adjustment to panic to you have to deal with a stressful situation right here, this is real, this is happening, that turnover period was very short, and I owe a lot of that to Jiu-Jitsu. My friend who I was with, who lives in New Orleans, was panicking, and I was soon surprised at myself during the ordeal as it was happening how calm I was. Now, I had trained some gun disarms and defenses in college, and it had been a year or two, but you're only gonna go for a gun when someone's already been shot, when the most important one is when it's in range, and it wasn't that night. And I had to have a calm head to make that distinction. Okay, that gun's pointed at the both of us. It's definitely loaded. This is New Orleans. And I'm a quarter inch away from death. And that's a big pill to swallow. But that gun is out of range. He's about 5 to 6 feet from me, and he's keeping it there. I had to make the decision not to do something until there was an opportunity. And that opportunity never presented itself. When he demanded cell phones, I wasn't ready to give up that lifeline. Plenty of people have been shot after they'd given up money because the robber didn't want to have any witnesses. And I was not going to give up my lifeline to 911. I had my phone in my front pocket, my digital camera in my other front pocket, and my wallet in my back pocket. And I told the best lie I've ever told: I don't have my phone. I don't have it. The girl I was with gave him her purse, wallet, keys, cash, everything. No way to call for help, and I wasn't going to let that go. And he believed it. The second thing was that I was calm enough to take just the cash out of my wallet and instead of handing over the whole wallet. And I didn't really think twice about it. I pulled the money out and put my wallet back into my pocket. And if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have been able to get on a plane in 2 days and fly back home, because my ID, everything would be in there. And that was something I didn't realize until after the fact. But had I been panicking and handled the situation differently, or had a massive ego and tried to go for the gun, it could have ended up really, really bad. And I'm really thankful that I had a calm head and I was able to deal with a life or death situation. And for that, I am incredibly grateful to what Jiu-Jitsu has done for me and how it's changed me. The second way Gracie Jiu-Jitsu changed me was it opened my eyes towards the sexual assault threat that women face every day. And as I returned to college and I started reading up on statistics, and they're horrible statistics. 1 in 6 women in their lifetime will be sexually assaulted in some way, and college-age women are 4 times more likely. We need to do something about that. Most girls are not exposed to something like Jiu-Jitsu. They might have a kickboxing cardio class or something at the gym, or maybe a self-defense, one-day seminar, but I think people need to actively reach out and expose women to what is possible. And once you realize how lethal you can be from the guard, laying on your back, on the ground, worst case scenario, how many options you have for chokes, shoulder locks, arm bars, sweeps, getting a guy off you, it's unbelievable. And that really hit home when I learned that one of the friends I grew up with, while she was in the Army, was raped, and she was discharged due to post-traumatic stress disorder. And that, 1, broke my heart, and 2, enraged me that something like that could happen, and that this girl wasn't exposed to something that could really have helped her. From then on, I've been doing what I can to expose women to Jiu-Jitsu. When I was in college, I was a resident assistant, so I started putting together free exposure classes, and made posters and flyers, and started bringing these women for a 1 or 2 hour class on a weekend, just as an exposure to show that you're not helpless, and that you don't have to be strong to get a guy off of mount, or from guard, how lethal you can be. And the girls that I taught, when they left that class, they had the biggest smile on their face. You could tell that they really felt powerful. And for some of those classes, I brought in one of my biggest friends who's about 6'3", 240 pounds. And I wanted him to be my attacker to show them that the size difference doesn't matter with proper technique. Eventually, I found out about the Women Empowered program and I bought it. I'm a person that can loan this to somebody and be their training partner, and it seems like every time you meet somebody new, someone has a story or knows someone or about a girl or a lady that has been attacked in some way. Man, if you don't think you're young enough or athletic enough or flexible enough to train jiu-jitsu, then you probably don't fully understand jiu-jitsu. And it can take a while to fully understand it, but you're doing yourself a big disservice by not going and checking out a free class. Many, almost all jiu-jitsu schools will offer a free class, maybe a free week, some even a free month with a free gi if you sign up for a year or something like that. Go check out one school, check out another school. See if you can find a Gracie gym online or a Gracie garage or something. Or train at home, buy a DVD. I guarantee you won't regret it. If you don't think that your body is going to be able to handle it, then you've probably seen really fast-paced grappling tournaments, mixed martial arts, and you're like, wow, that looks really intense. That guy's getting his ass kicked. Jiu-jitsu can be as rough or as gentle as you want it to be. Jiu-jitsu translates to the gentle art, and with proper technique, you're using almost no force to get the results that you want. And when you look at the old guys that train and how old Grandmaster Elio was, training into his 90s, you're like, wow, I don't see any kickboxers doing that. No, because they all have head injuries. Okay, roadblocks. When I started training jiu-jitsu, I was taking 2 semesters off of school, so I finally had the time to train 3 days a week, and I had a job and I could pay for it. When I returned to school as an engineering student, I had no free time. I really had to make an effort to get some friends together that were kind of interested in grappling, maybe had a little experience, and maybe on a Sunday afternoon go find some mats in the gym and work on a couple techniques for a little bit, and I was able to teach just some basic stuff. But school's a full-time gig. It doesn't matter if you have to take a break, if you're getting deployed. It's always going to be there for you. Sure, you're going to forget some stuff, but there's plenty of internet videos you can watch that will pique your interest on a new technique. Or I never really lost the drive to train because jiu-jitsu became so addictive that it was very hard to stop thinking about it. You'd be in class and you're kind of running over positions in your head, techniques and stuff, because it became so intriguing. Every time I learned a new technique, I think I could never come up with that. Not in 20 years would I think of something like that. That's crazy. And so it gets to the point where you see a collared shirt and you're like, ah, okay, kick a clock choke from this angle, or rear naked here, or a bow and arrow choke from this angle. What are my options? And I think that's good. It's not an aggressive thing. It's because your brain is constantly thinking about it. Train when you can. If you can't, there's you can get apps on your phone now to keep your mind fresh. But always go back in the gym. If you don't like it, change something about it. Talk to your professor, or when you're rolling, say, hey, I want a slow roll today. I'm not going full force. I've got this, that, and whatever injury, and that's going to keep you training for a long time. And wash your gi too. Wash it. Yes, you. My final goal in Jiu-Jitsu, I don't think final goal is really maybe the best word. I don't think there should be a final anything in Jiu-Jitsu, because it's a process, it's a lifestyle. And one thing I would like to have happen is have a girl come back to me and saying, "You got me hooked on Jiu-Jitsu and it saved my life last weekend. This guy went ballistic and I was able to choke him out with a triangle choke," and that would be the best feeling in the world for me. As far as belts, I'm in no race. I want to train Jiu-Jitsu for the rest of my life, and I know I have a low impact sport and lifestyle that I can do that for the rest of my life and not have severe injuries from training really hard. So, thank you, Gracie family, for sharing Jiu-Jitsu with the world, because it has done a lot for me and has done a lot for many, many other people. And it has given me the ability to share something really powerful that can really make a difference. So the next time you're rolling and you're on the bottom side control with a crossface or knee on belly and the pressure is unbearable, think about how this is going to help you, because you're going to remain calm and you know the technique to get out, to escape, to counterattack. So stay calm, breathe, and keep it playful.